Do you see or hear about the Bernie Sanders rallies?
All right, let's see it.
Horrible.
Unbelievable. I'm going to tell you, if I were in that room, I mean, fat chance, but if I were in that room.
So this individual is performing a clutching of their pearls in the most masculine way they can simulate, because Bernie Sanders recently invited a trans singer named Laura Jane Grace to perform at one of his rallies, and she performed, in addition to other songs, a song entitled Your God, which is a critique of Christian nationalism and its demonization of trans folks, and particularly its belligerent and ongoing demand to always know what's going on in everybody else's pants. And so this critique takes the shape of demanding to know what's going on in God's pants, because Christian nationalists also belligerently demand that everybody think of God as male, but simultaneously demand that they do not attribute to that same God what they pretty belligerently insist is the very essence of maleness, namely a phallus. So the critique takes the shape of asking rhetorical questions about God's phallus. And if you would like an academic approach to the notion of God's phallus, and particularly in the Bible and in surrounding cultures, I would highly recommend chapters 5, 6, 7, and 8 of Francesca Stavrakopoulou's wonderful book, God and Anatomy. There is a serious academic case to make that the authors of the Bible had thoughts about God's phallus. But when it comes to feelings they think everybody else should prioritize, the fuck your feelings crowd gets deep into those very fragile and very brittle feelings. But there's more to this rhetoric.
I would have been running for the door as fast as I could, because I'd be afraid that the God of the Old Testament would be back and that roof's coming down on all of them. I've never heard anything so horrendous.
So the notion of a violent and vindictive God of the Old Testament over and against the loving and kind God of the New Testament is factually incorrect and is anti-Semitic. And if you didn't know it before, that's okay. I'm letting you know now. It is factually incorrect and it is anti-Semitic. So no matter how much our feelings may have been hurt by a song that somebody sang, let's give that rhetoric a rest. And if you would like to learn more about anti-Semitism and supersessionism and discriminatory practices against Jewish folks and the role of the New Testament in reifying and facilitating those things, I would highly recommend this book that just came out, Judeophobia and the New Testament Text and Context, which discusses how the New Testament has been leveraged to facilitate anti-Semitism and goes through every single book of the New Testament individually to discuss Judeophobia in those books, as well as how those books might be leveraged to facilitate Judeophobia. And then the two indices that I really like, one was discussing the factual incorrectness of that dichotomous notion of a violent and vindictive God of the Old Testament over and against a kind and loving God of the New Testament. And then this helpful flow chart on when it is okay to call someone a Pharisee. And the fit for this video has been Wolverine in his correct uniform.